Ladies and gentlemen, let's try GameHits.com video. It is Steam sales. It is the first day of the Steam sales. It is the 25th of November. There are so many games available today. And I don't just mean on Steam's homepage. Frankly, I could go absolutely nuts trying to read all of these out, so I won't. I will deliberately be missing some of them out. It's not because they suck. It's because either I don't know enough about them to give a competent opinion, or because I don't feel that the deal is amazing. And so if I don't feel the deal is particularly oh my god, or I don't know anything about it, it's unfair of me to spend like a 30 seconds or a minute talking about it when there are so many games on this sale, including a ridiculous price for Wolfenstein, a ridiculous price for... Actually, let's just get on with it, shall we? So, Company of Heroes franchise. This one's available 75% off. I highly recommend this series. You can't really go wrong with it. Personally, I would suggest maybe going number 2, simply because if you've not played the series before and maybe you're more of a modern gamer, you might prefer the nicer graphics for the price of this game, which is only £6 for Company of Heroes 2. In my opinion, you might as well go for that. I'm not saying that the old one's bad. The old one's really, really good. But I just think that maybe number 2 for, if you're kind of new to the series. Alright, and The Blind Forest. What's the best way of describing this game other than astoundingly beautiful? I guess, and it's not really doing it justice, it would be kind of a Metroidvania-esque title, inspired somewhat by definitely some traits of Nintendo. It absolutely focuses on narrative, but this is one of those games where it looks amazing. I mean, geez, yes, obviously it has more of a traditional art style and all that, but it's like trying. It just looks beautiful in motion. Go ahead and check it out, in my opinion. Tom Clancy's franchise, a ridiculous number of games in this series. I personally would suggest, because Rainbow Six Siege and the Division are not on sale, just for your FYI, I would suggest picking up Vegas and Vegas 2 if you're going to pick up any, and also Blacklist and any of the other Tom Clancy's you cannot go wrong with. They're currently 50% off. Very solid pricing. You could also pick up the franchise pack, which includes all of those, but honestly I would probably be more likely to pick and choose, but that's just my opinion. Fallout franchise, really good prices on Fallout 3 and New Vegas, so if your wallet can't take the punishment of Fallout 4 at the moment, or you're more looking to just try it out, a Fallout game, like for example Fallout 3 for like $2.49, maybe, do be warned that the Game of the Year edition does give you all of the DLC, and the same goes for New Vegas. The Ultimate Edition, for example, of New Vegas is $5.09, and the Game of the Year edition of Fallout 3 is the same price. Sid Meier's Civilization. Honestly, if I was going to just select one game, it would be Civ 5, because it's probably about the most well respected and complete. It is not the newest, but it is still pretty damn good. The Walking Dead for 75% off, $4.74. You can't really go wrong with this one, in my personal opinion. For the price, and especially if you're a fan of the TV show, you cannot go wrong with it. That's pretty much all I've got to say on that one. The Long Dark. This is a survival horror game, but not in the way that you might think. This is not like Amnesia, The Dark Descent. This is not like, The Walking Dead or something like that, where zombies or ghosts are going to come and eat you. This is quite literally you versus nature. This is you versus a wolf eating your face. This is you versus dying of the cold or dying of starvation. This is you versus isolation and madness. I can't really put it any other way. It looks pretty impressive visually. It is one of those games you're going to make of it as you will. 45% off, that's $8.24 in UK money. So yeah, I mean, give it a shot if it's your thing. Or if it's not your thing. See what I did there? Bound by Flame. I know this is going to get some flack because Bound by Flame is a Marmite. It has been called by many a poor version of Witcher or a poor version of Dark Souls. The reason I bring it up is because for the price, if you're a fan of those games, you might want to check it out. I'm not saying it's as good as Witcher 3 before anyone goes nuts, but it is not a terrible game. It isn't as strong narratively, it's not a strong combat. Graphically it's okay, it's not, oh my god, it's not, you know, high-end visuals or anything like that, but it looks pretty competent. I'd suggest at least checking out some gameplay of it. You know, maybe. Rise, Son of Zerome. I know I'm going to also get some flack for this one for recommending it, but I actually quite liked Rise, Son of Zerome. I covered it on the channel. This is a Marmite game. Personally, I actually quite liked it. I liked the combat, I liked the narrative. It's not historically accurate, and the combat does have problems with too many QTEs. It does have problems with, yes, okay, stab, pre-can animation, stabbed, pre-can animation, stab, pre-can animation, but it is still fun. I would personally suggest, because it's a fairly short game, it's good for visuals. It looks amazing. If you're looking to test out a new rig, particularly at 4K, why not? I mean, it's at least in my opinion, it's a good solid option. I think it's a good game. It's maybe not the best game on the list, but if you've been interested in it, I would suggest trying it out. Is basically what I'm trying to tell you. Yeah, I think that's it for the front page. I do want to go through some of the games which are not on the front page. There are a lot. Are you ready? Okay. Wolfenstein: The New Order, 85% off. That's £5.24. Just buy it. If you're interested in old school FPS where you have double shotguns, dual wielding those sons of bitches, you shine them up real nice, go ahead. This game is really good. I was surprised with how good this is. This is a really good game. Looks impressive-ish visually. It does have some problems here and there, but it runs ridiculously well, even on a lower spec system. I don't have any problems with this. Really, really good game, and for the price, it's absolute insanity. Dark Souls 2: Scholar of the First Sin. It's currently 50% off. I'm suggesting this as a warning. It might go cheaper because 50%. It's potentially possible it will go cheaper. I would suggest not buying it today, but keeping it on like your high alert. So basically make a list, and then when the sale ends, we all know that that's, you know, basically, when is that actually? I think it's the 1st of December, yeah. So basically keep an eye on it, and if it's not gone cheaper by the last day of the sale, say, yep, okay, I'm going to pick this one up at 50% off, and if it does go cheaper, then, you know, yay you. Shadow of Mordor, same deals, but 66% off. It probably won't go that much cheaper. It might go to 75, but that's like a few pennies. Really good game, Shadow of Mordor. A game that I didn't review. Very good title, however. I have played it. Really good. The best way of describing this sucker is Assassin's Creed meets Batman, but with Lord of the Rings mythos. Really like it, personally. Next one, Thief. I quite liked Thief, but I wasn't a massive fan of the originals, and I played them but not astounding amounts. Personally, I would suggest picking it up for the price they're charging, which is 75% off, $4.99. If you're a big fan of the old Thief and you're wondering should you buy it, my answer to you is the following. Yes, but don't go in thinking you're going to get a Thief that does the old one justice. If you've not played the old one and you're thinking should I buy it, the best question I've got is, do you like games like Dishonored? If yes, then try it. I liked it, but it is a Marmite game. Speaking of Marmite, The Evil Within. So this one does have a demo available, and Shinji Mikami did pretty well with this one. He is, of course, the creator of Resident Evil. But my god, I want to love this game, but I feel like I'm in a freaking abusive relationship. I keep going back to me, and she keeps slapping me, and I say, please stop, this hurts. And she's like, no, I'm gonna fucking abuse you, because you've annoyed me. I only left the toilet seat at once. Seriously, this game, I want to love, and I do like the game. It is a really good game. Story is really good. The environments are really good. The puzzles are really good. The gameplay, 95% of the time, is really good. And then you come to one part that really pisses you off. There are problems with this game that are quite numerous. I've discussed them over and over, and the internet's discussed them over and over. Primarily, it's down to balance. I would suggest trying out the demo. I like the game, but Jesus, sometimes it can be frustrating. I'm just warning you, it is a really good game, but you have to suffer for it. You really do. Grandia 2, Anniversary Edition, 50% off. Might go cheaper, probably not, but it might do. 50% off, $7.49. This is, of course, a re-release of probably one of the Dreamcast's most infamous and most beloved RPGs. Grandia 2, a good solid game. Try it out. That's what I'd suggest. If you like a good old school Japanese RPG, you can't go wrong with Grandia 2. Just obviously be warned, it doesn't have HBAO lighting. Alien Isolation, 75% off. $7.99. Might go a little cheaper, but probably not that much. Excuse me, I just hiccup there. Good game? Bad game? Yeah, pretty good game. It does have a few issues in regards to balance at times, and it can be a bit boring regarding the robots. But overall, yeah, definitely worth checking out. In my opinion, I don't have any qualms at all trying this game after the abysmal Colonial Marines Creative Assembly did good. Sleeping Dogs Definitive Edition. Apparently I can no longer speak. Definitive Edition of Sleeping Dogs basically means slight improvements. All the available DLC from the previous versions have been implemented. For example, you've got better technology, better visuals. It's not night and day difference, but for $4.99, well worth it. I've heard some people call this an Asian GTA, and it's an insult. They'll use it as an insult. It's not. It is a good game. It focuses primarily on martial arts, especially at the start, for the first several hours. You do start getting guns. It's not like you don't, but it is combat orientated. The biggest problem with the combat is it does have too much emphasis on the counter system, which is an issue I could also levy, by the way, on Batman. Spec Ops: The Line, 80% off, $3.99. Just buy the bloody game. Seriously, it's really good. There is a demo available. It is a little old in terms of visuals now, as it was, released in 2012, but I really like this game. I'm not going to mention anything about the story. It is really different to what you'd expect. If you go in thinking that this is going to be Call of Duty, it is at the start, but that's where it tricks you, and then the feels hit you. Really like this game. We've covered it on the channel, so go ahead and check it out. Saints Row 4, PC demo available, which is good. 70% off, $3.29. This one goes to zany, about the zaniest you could possibly get with zany. Not my thing, if I'm honest, story-wise. You are now the US president, pretty much. So you have to save the world from aliens. This one is absolutely crazy. You basically get superpowers because, well, I don't want to say anything just in case it's spoilers. It's not really that big of a spoiler because it happens in the first few minutes, but still, I don't want to ruin it. I'd suggest it if you're interested in that type of humour. Personally, I can't get over the humour. It's not my thing. Next game, Max Payne 3, 75% off, $3.74. This game is really good. It has problems. Primarily, combat can be a bit iffy. So some situations you can get yourself in and it can be a little frustrating. But overall, gameplay, despite the fact that Max does have tendencies to dive into walls at times and other bits and pieces that you'd expect, still really solid. Great narrative, great storytelling. For the price, which is $3.74, go ahead and pick it up. Personally, I would not bother with any of the DLC, however, because it's pretty much just multiplayer stuff, so just pick up the base game, in my opinion. You could also pick up the older Max Paynes as well for $7.79, which is potentially worth it, actually. I might recommend that. Metro Redux Bundle. Now, that means you get 2033 and Last Light for $6.24. 75% off. That's ridiculous. What the hell is Redux? It basically changes some of the balance of the game, improvements to the graphics, all of that jazz. An insane price, by the way. A lot of good content, really good single player FPS. This is not necessarily a Call of Duty-ish lovers game, but it is really well done. Storyline's really well done, great narrative. It does have a few moments where you feel that the story does go kind of off track, particularly, in my opinion anyway, on 2033. I think the mid portion of the game feels a bit weaker, but it's not to say it's bad. Some of my favourite gaming moments, horror-orientated ones, have been from Metro. And if you really want full atmosphere, go into the sewers of Metro 2033, play with the lights off and surround sound, and see how you fare. Next game, Doom 3 BFG Edition. We've covered it a lot on this channel actually. $4.99. You get Doom, Doom 2, Doom 3, Resurrection of Evil, and the Lost Missions, which I think 7 levels or 8 levels or something like that. I would personally recommend this. It does fix some of the problems, particularly with with Doom 3. For the price, if you're interested in old school FPS, I'm going to shoot you in the face with a shotgun because you're a demon. Go ahead. Well worth it. Hitman Absolution, 75% off. $3.74. The new Hitman's coming out. Go ahead and check this one out. Really good game in my personal opinion. Can't really say much more than that. Well worth it. It deserved to sell better than what it ended up doing. I think that's it. He says, going through all of his millions of open tabs. I think that's it for this particular day. I might follow up tomorrow, depending on what's happening with the sale. You know, what games are on the front page and what they're doing with the back end. But hopefully you've enjoyed the video. Let me know if you found it useful. I'm going to go now because it's taken me a ridiculous amount of time to go through all of the games and start looking at all the deals. So I need to do some, other stuff, pretty much. So take care of yourselves. Have a great day. Bye for now.